Okay, looks like we're all set. Let's start this. And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome back to my stream. I'm Pierre, your host. I hope you all had a wonderful weekend. I know that I did. Thanks very much for asking. So my friends, let's do what we always do. Let's go over to the computer. Let's check out what we did on Friday, and then we'll start our day from there. So what did we do on Friday? Well, first of all, we got rid of this green background of our frame by putting a coat of black paint over that. Then we added some turquoise to our green leaves, and then we added the second coat of paint to the leaves we did the previous day. So that is basically what we did on Friday. And today, what are we going to do? Well, we're going to add details to our plants. And then if we have some time, we'll maybe put a second coat of black paint on our frame. So let's get our paint ready for that. We're going to try two different types of turquoise, and then we're going to do cerulean blue. So let's start off with these leaves right here. And those leaves are this paint here called blue turquoise. You can see they're all slightly different. Cerulean blue, the blue turquoise, and this is more of a green turquoise. So let's start off with the blue. There we go, a little bit of that. I'm going to add a little bit of white paint because I want it to be, the details a lot lighter than the background. There we go. It's all caked up from the weekend. Okay. Nice way to start off the day with a lot of paint on my fingers. And I guess there's no avoiding that. And my faithful little knife right here. And I'll put a bunch of white paint there. I'll put quite a bit of it because I do want it to be quite a bit lighter. We'll do that in several stages. And actually, I'll go over to camera number 1, and we can do that, mixing the colors together. So let me get, first of all, clean off my knife. Looks like I'm running out of rags as well. I can't believe the amount of rags that I use. They are really precious. So we got that together. I am just going to go over here and add a little jar of water to my stool that I have, a little bar stool there. And then I'm going to bring down the camera right here so we can mix in these colors together. I am going to grab a larger brush that I won't be using, but just to go quicker as we blend in the white and the turquoise. So this is the turquoise blue. There we go. So let's just mix this together. Let me come in and just, there we go. Get to camera number 1, full screen. There we go. Looks like I might need to use all of the white. I wasn't sure at first. But if I do want it to be nice and light, I guess I have to. Let's blend all this in together. Here, I can even use this. I need a lot more water, I can tell right away. There we go. Because I want this paint to flow on the canvas as though it was ink. Yet I don't want it to be too liquid so it doesn't drip. And I want it also to keep its opacity to the maximum. So I do have to kind of blend all this, keeping in mind those different criterias. So what is this? There's a piece of white paint there that looks more like a piece of crust more than anything else. Let me just get rid of that. There we go. Actually, it looks like there's another piece right there, right? Or am I dreaming? I can't really tell. Doesn't matter at this point. But I am going to add a little more water to blend all this in. And then I'll have to go and pick the right paintbrush. I can't tell if that's a little too thick or not. This is the first time I've been painting with these colors, so I'm not really used to them. I have no idea how well they cover or not. So, what do I have? This is nice and creamy right here. Is that too thick? We can't really tell right now. Maybe I'll start with this and then I can just add more water. I'd rather do it like that than have too much water at first. So let me just get all this in the middle. Wipe off this fat brush right here. Rinse off this brush. We'll need it later to mix in the other colors. And then I'll just switch back over here to pick the right paintbrush, the right size. So I have these two candidates. And I think I'm going to start with the stiffer of the two that I have. I think I'll be able to control it better. So while that's soaking, I am going to come back to camera number 1 and get that ready so you can follow what I'm doing. I'm just going to offset it a little bit like that so I won't be in front of the lens. And we're going to start off with these little plants right up here in the corner like that. So this is done. Let me wipe off my brush so there's no excess water on the hairs. And let's see what this does. I don't know. This looks awfully thick, this paint. Maybe it isn't. It doesn't seem to be that bad. Okay, so I guess I will switch over to camera number 1 and then we'll just start putting on these details. Okay, it seems to be the right color at least, a lot lighter. There will be a black outline to these leaves. And it does seem to cover quite nicely. Very good. That's a pleasant surprise. I don't have to be too picky on the black here because there will be a second coat, of course. I just force of habit. There we go. So why don't I zoom in on this one just so I can do the editing to my movies afterwards. Come on, baby, go right in there. Okay, want to give me a hard time? Be that way. Okay, so start like this. All right. So I don't know with the glare from the window how that's going to look. Hopefully not too bad. Always have to keep everything in mind here. It's not just painting, it's also broadcasting. I have to keep all these little different criterias in mind, remembering to move the camera, remembering to turn on the microphone, all that good stuff. There we go. Very nice. Now in today's day and age, they have all sorts of magic markers to do exactly what I'm doing now. But to me, that's doodling, and I prefer painting. So I just love the paintbrush, the challenge of trying to get everything right like that. So let's continue. I'm going to head on up on these leaves on the top center part, right up there. Maybe I'll just zoom in a little more. There we go. I can see there's still a lot of glare from the window. There's nothing I can do about that. I am not going to shut the shutters. So when we get to the lower leaves, there should be a lot less glare. Very nice. See, when you have the right consistency of your paint, it just glides on beautifully without any effort at all on your part. Very nice. All right. Let's get back to this guy here. All right, very good. Now we have to get to these two little guys over here. Let me move the camera over maybe a little bit. There we go. I'll start with that top one and work my way down. There we go. I just stepped back to the camera for a second because I was curious. I mean, I stepped back to the computer to see how this glare looked on the computer, because I can't really tell from the little 2-inch window on my computer, on my camera. So but by looking at the computer screen, it doesn't look too bad. So I'll just continue and not even worry about it anymore. Just take pleasure in painting. I must say, this is so much fun. And the whole thing is always a lot of fun. But I notice at the beginning of the painting, when I start a brand new painting and I have to prime the canvas and then add the first coats or first 2 coats to the background, I always feel a little guilty because those streams last like only a half an hour because I can't do anything because the paint isn't dry. So I always feel a little bit guilty doing that, but I can't help it. There's no avoiding it. But when I get to this stage of painting, it's pure enjoyment because it's actually getting into the meat of the whole process. There we go. Just going to get this last guy here. There, very nice. So while we're here, might as well just tackle these leaves right here. I'll pull back a little bit. There we go. Since all these are still in turquoise blue, and I don't think they will hurt me. I have the fan on, so by the time I get to the blue ceruleum right here to do these details, this should be dry because I'm worried about putting my hand in it like that when I'm doing the cerulean blue, but it should be okay. So I'll just continue. These are the kind of things I have to think about just to avoid frustration and making a mess. There we go. Very good. Move the camera, bring it down a little bit. There we go. Very nice. Look at that. All right. Well, usually I'm kind of rusty on Mondays, but today I'm doing okay. I'll knock on wood, make sure that I didn't just jinx myself. All right. Very good. The paint is still flowing nicely, so I don't really need to add any water right off. But saying that, it wouldn't hurt either if I did. So, let me just finish this leaf right here. Come back here for a second. Rinse off my brush. Maybe just add this brush's worth of water and rework the paint a little bit. Because with the heat, it tends to, the water evaporate. But just by adding that drop of water, I should bring things to a very nice consistency. Now I do have this chunk of something in the middle of there. I thought I was hallucinating, but no, there it is. Again, a piece of white paint that hardened. There, I got rid of that. Yes, now that's much like it. Everything is nice and creamy there. Okay, very good. So once again, I'll rinse off this brush, wipe off the excess water, and we'll get back to our leaves. I'll just step back for a second. Okay, very good. So let's get back to camera number 1, and let's keep on working on this baby. Very nice. All right. I feel like I'm going to have to grab my chair in a few seconds. I'm starting to bend in half, which isn't very good for my back. I mean, to paint, you need 3 things, in my opinion. One is the right consistency of the paint. 2, the right size paintbrush. And 3, to be in a comfortable position to paint in. You can unite those 3 things. Painting should be an absolute pleasure. which means now I'm starting to break my back, which usually can lead to mistakes or whatnot. This is still at a height that is okay. I wouldn't go any lower though, without grabbing my chair. There we go. So we finished all those leaves. That is pretty awesome. We're going to come back over here now, and we're going to get these lower leaves right down here. So for that, again, I want to think about working from left to right so I don't put my hand in the paint. I see I already made a little bit of a mess last Friday, but it doesn't matter because I'm going to have the border that I'm doing now, plus the black paint on top of that. So every little screw up will be fixed. But what I do need though is my chair. So that is exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to grab my chair right here, bring that over to this side, maybe move the camera just a whisker over so I'm not in front of the lens. I could actually even zoom in a little bit more. There we go. And as I was showing the mistake from last Friday, I just added some more paint right now. No big deal, little saliva, and it wipes right off. Okay, so just step back one more time, take a look at what has to be done. Very good. So I really lucked out because on this blue turquoise, I only put one coat on. And usually all the other colors I have to put 2 coats of paint. But this one covered so well and didn't leave any brush strokes, so I really lucked out. So let's go back to camera number 1. Let's tackle these leaves again. There you go, very nice. Right there. And a little swirl right there. All right, very good. And I did remember to bring the camera down a little bit. That's a little miracle in itself. So this bottom left-hand side of the canvas, the staple pulled itself out of the wall. My canvas is a little wobbly. So I am going to fix that right now. Not because it bothers me painting, but I'm afraid that it's going to force my camera lens to go in and out of focus. So that is another thing I have to keep in mind. So I am going to just grab my staple gun right here and come back and add, there we go, little staple to bring a little stability. And we'll get back to our leaves. Oops, maybe I'll switch back to the cameras. I have a tendency to forget stuff like that. There we go. So this goddamn staple popped out of the wall again. There we go. Wonderful. Let's get these last 3 leaves. Now, actually, I should get up and go get some staples and staple this, but I'm being awfully lazy. All right. So instead of stapling, I'm just going to hold it with my left hand. Right on, right on. Wonderful, marvelous. There we go. So let's bring this camera over a little bit. And this is the last batch that we got to tackle, at least of the turquoise blue. And after that, we have the turquoise green and the cerulean blue. And then if it's not too late, or if I'm not too tired, we'll add a second coat of black to our background, to the frame, I should say. There we go. Stick to these leaves since they're on camera. I should have just the right amount of paint. Finish these leaves. That's pretty cool. And Just like that. So the paint is very thick in certain places, but who cares? It has all night to dry. There we go. Very good. Let's bring down this baby here. Maybe I can zoom in just a little bit more. There we go. First I get this guy here. I know half of it is off camera, but since it's on the left-hand side of the canvas, just to make sure I don't put my hands in it, I'll get it done first. There we go. And let's tackle this baby here. There we go. Qu'il y a du limoncello, j'ai entendu? Ah merde alors, non. There we go.
Non, le limoncello, il va être bientôt prêt.
Non mais je vois
plus.
plus.
J'ai vu ce matin.
Ah bon, t'en as?
J'ai cueilli des citrons, j'ai pelé, et parce qu'en rangeant la cave, j'ai récupéré une bouteille d'alcool.
Ah.
Parce qu'il faut de l'alcool, et ici je ne trouve pas l'alcool pour faire le limoncello.
Ah bon? Chaque fois c'est d'Italie?
Ouais. Possible à trouver. C'est sur vous. D'accord. L'interview.
So there we go. Okay, so we're all done with this guy here. Let's pull the camera back. And now I think we're going to go with those fat leaves there with the green, turquoise green will be our next destination. So I will mix the paint first and then decide what brush to use next. I think I'll have to go with a little wider brush, maybe not, I don't know. Let me just find a palette though that I can use. There we go. Here's one. There we go. Okay, so we got this together. Now, what did we say? This was the turquoise green, so I don't have that much left. But since we're adding white paint to it, I should have sufficiently enough to finish this painting. So let me get my knife. Let's put this on this semi-clean palette. Maybe I'll scrape off just a little bit of the paint on the bottom. There we go. Okay. Well, that was pretty. A lot of thick paint right there, which I think will loosen up with a bunch of water. There we go. So at least I don't waste that much. Here's a little more. Okay, so I think that's enough paint since I'm going to be lightening it up quite a bit with the white paint. There we go. Everything going okay on the stream. Just wanted to make sure. So I'm going to put quite a bit of white paint because I want it to be quite a bit lighter than what it is. And where is the cover to my cap? Here it is, the cap to my jar of paint. There we go. And just like before, I'm going to clean this off, clean off my knife. Up. Yep, I'm going to need some new rags. I can't believe the amount of rags I use. And I'm always searching for more rags. God. Okay, so we have that done. Knife is clean. I'm going to grab this fat brush that we used earlier. And I guess I'll go over to camera number 1. And we can blend this in together like we did earlier. So let's come back to here. I will bring this down here where I have my... Let me pull this back a little bit here. And that also. There we go. So let's just blend all this in together and get a nice light turquoise going. Very pretty, looks like the ocean off the coast of Nice here. That is pretty thick so far. It's nice and creamy though. So let's get this to be all nice and homogenized, and then I'll add water to make it a little more liquid so it will spread easier on the canvas. Ugh, look at that. There we go. I'm sure I'll need more water than that, so I might as well right away. And now let's blend all this in together. Still blend all this in. So the more I blend this, the less paint I have a feeling I have. I don't know why. I want to make sure I have plenty to cover all 3 of our plants so I don't have to make any more. I'm not sure I'll have enough though. We can start off with this though. Just scrape the maximum of this paint off. There we go. And I'll bring the camera back up and then I'll just switch over. That is the one we're going to tackle first, right? So might as well come in right now, get the camera ready. And then I'm just going to come back over here and find the right paintbrush that we need. So for these two plants, I think the same paintbrush I used on the turquoise blue will be good. On this plant over here, which is a lot larger, I might need a brush that's slightly larger than this one that I was using earlier. And even that one looks like it's a little small, but here's a brush that might be just the right size. That one or this one. I'll try this one first. Let me just soak it for a few seconds. Then wipe off the excess water. We don't want any dripping. I'm not sure. Let's try this. I'm not sure at all this is going to be the right size, but we'll find out in 10 seconds. So. Okay, just going to move the camera over a little bit. It looked like I was in the frame, and I don't want to be in front of that lens. And I'm not sure. Okay, let's try it. So this brush is just a little too small. I'm going to just finish this area right here to make sure that I'm right. And I am right. This is just a little not wide enough. Now, of course, I could keep going 2-3 layers, but I like painting quickly. I'm a fast painter. So I'm going to set that one aside, and I'm going to grab a different brush that looks a lot wider. And I'm just going to have to be careful as I'm applying the paint to it. So, my paint seems off. Could have used a little more water. Let's see. I'm just going to continue. Let's go back to camera numero uno. And let's try that out. Well, this is definitely the right size. I got that done right, and it seems to be the paint as well. Now that I have the paintbrush that's the right size, the paint seems to be the right consistency as well. Except that I have a hair in it, in my paint. God knows where that could have come from. There we go. So let me come back over here, make this just a little wider. There we go. Okay, very good. And I am going to add a little bit of water. I have that jar right behind the camera. And I am getting my friggin' hair all over in the paint. There we go. A little bit of water. Make this paint a little more easier, manageable. There we go. There, much better. Bring this down a little bit like that. All right. Okay, I have to be careful of the blue turquoise that we just did a few seconds ago. The paint isn't dry everywhere. Gotta be careful not to put my hands in it, in the wet paint. There we go. Very good. Pull the camera back a little bit to lower it. All right. So I remember having a hard time with that painting, that leaf there, because I wasn't in a comfortable position. So I just grabbed my chair, and I'd rather reach up than bend down. So there we go. I don't have to worry too much because there is that black outline that's going to go on top of all that later. So there we go. Very good. Okay, so let's move the camera over and get this other leaf here. Now, I did say these were a little bit narrower than the one we just did. So, do I switch brushes or not? That is a good question. I can't decide. I'm going to switch brushes. And if it's too small, I will switch back to the one I was just using. Just going to get rid of that excess water on the brush by mixing it with the paint. That will help the paint flow better as well. Okay, so let's try this. No, that's fine. This is the brush I used to do those turquoise blue leaves that we did earlier when we first started. And this brush seems to just do this job very well as well. Go. right. Very good. Very smooth, very cool. All right, going very well so far. Oops, what do I do there? Nothing. Nobody will ever know that I slipped up. And a little wider, there we go. Beautiful. Very good. Okay, so now what do we have? We have this last baby down here, which is pretty good because I'm going to be able to grab my chair and be a lazy painter. So that's pretty cool. Grab that, get it over here. So I guess I'll start on this left leaf here. I'll zoom in zoom in a little more just for this one here. And I'll go full screen on that. Maybe add a little bit of water to my paint, which is starting to stiffen up a little bit. At least quantity-wise, I have plenty here. That's pretty good. So let's get back to here. Go. No need for me to get too picky because there again, that black outline. There we go. And then followed by the black frame afterwards. All right. Very good. Let's go back up and then with this guy here. Pull the camera back to get the whole thing in. Just like that. Just like that. All right, very good. Very good. One little bump there. There's a bump in the road. All right, very cool. Just like that. Okay, getting close to the end of these guys. All right. I guess I was a little bit off camera there. I apologize. It's concentrating on what I'm doing. Let me zoom in on there. Again, it doesn't matter if I spew over just a little bit because I'll be putting on the second coat of black paint on that side there. So there we have it. Details of our turquoise green. And now we just have to do the cerulean blue for our leaves. Are kind of like spider plants. I don't know what you want to call them. That's the first one we'll tackle, is that one up there. So I will come back over here just to make that. So where is that cerulean blue? Is right here. And I'll just add a bunch of white paint to that to make it nice and nice baby, light baby blue. Oops. First, maybe I should put the white paint on the palette. That could help. There we go. I think that's going to be enough. We'll see. If not, I will just add a little more white paint to it. So again, cleaning off the knife. I noticed as I grabbed the white paint that there was a little bit of that turquoise green in there. So apparently I didn't wash my knife that well the last time around. Fortunately, I was able to scoop it out of there. So now we should be all set. Get the right kind of paintbrush. I guess I'll use this fat guy right here. So I'm going to do it just like before. I'm going to go over to camera number 1 and I'm going to bring it down here. And we will blend this in together just to get that light baby blue. Just add a little more water. I don't have much of a surface to do, so this should go. I guess I should have plenty of paint there. Just make sure it's nice and blended in, nice and homogeneous. There we go. So just hold on a second. Let me just come back here for off camera for a second. And like that, I can show you all 3 of the colors we've used so far. This here is that blue and the green and the cerulean, right? So can you see the difference between the 3 tints, right? All right, so we got both our turquoises done, and all we need to do is get this cerulean blue. Yeah, this is an odd little painting. I don't know if I'm going to like this painting or not when it's done. I'll be quite honest with you. It is so new to me that I'm not confident at all. We started off with a green background to our frame, And then because we were gone on a totally different scheme of colors we were going to use. And then, of course, we changed courses last Monday morning or whenever we came in, and then I had to change the frame again as well to match our changing moods. I mean, none of these colors I've ever used before. I've never used this kind of background. What was it called? I don't even remember. It was a gift that was given to me. And what is this called? A magenta aqua. So the background is a magenta aqua, which I've never used before. I've never done a triangle before in my paintings. And I never used these kind of turquoise to make plants. So this is going really, well, we'll see what it's either going to make it or it'll just be a flop. At this point, I can't tell. I have no idea what I'm going to do in the centerpiece as well, nor the frames, on the frames. So anyways, let's go back to camera number 1. First of all, I'm going to close off my white paint because knowing myself, I'm going to forget to do that. And I got the light baby blue turquoise. So let's go to camera number 1 and let's see what this gives us. Okay. There we go. So far, so good. Go. Now my hand is in the leaves we did earlier. Fortunately, it's fairly dry. Didn't turn out to be a catastrophe. I was lucky. Oh, fuck me. Talking about putting your hands in the paint. As you can see, that's exactly what I did right there. Quickly grab a wet rag and erase this mess before it actually dries. And as you see, the wonders of acrylic paints is that it just comes right off. Jesus, there we go. No one will ever know I screwed up. And we fix the little mistakes. There we go. Okay, so we got that baby done. Let's go over this. Get this baby as well. Just like that. Doesn't matter if I go on the frame a little bit. Now this is where I'm going to have to be careful not to put my hands in the paint, so I'm not sure exactly where to start. Maybe right there. Oops. All right. There we go. Got that baby done. And let's tackle our final spider plant, which is way down here. Boom. Right there. I will grab my chair. Maybe add a little water to the paint. There we go. Just going to stir this for a few seconds. There we go. Again, because of my black outline, I don't have to worry too much. Go. Very good. And then tomorrow, I guess we can start putting the outline, which is basically exactly what we've done today, except everything will be in black. Unless I decide something else. I'm going with a purple. Okay. Boom. So let me just step back for a second. See what we have here. So, oops, qu'est-ce qui se passe là? What is going on with our cameras here? It's camera number 2 having a problem. Didn't like, there we go. Eesh. So anyways, that is the view from camera number 2, now that it's working again. And then what we did today on camera number 1, which looks a little bit out of focus, or am I dreaming? I can't tell if the camera's out of focus or is it my eyes out of focus. Looks like when I'm out of the field, camera's out of focus. What the hell's going on here? So as we were saying, camera number 2, then switching over to camera number 1, which to me looks slightly out of focus. Now if I put my hand here, I don't know. I know I shouldn't do this. I should worry about this later. But, okay. I don't know. It still looked out of focus to me, but maybe it was okay. I have no idea. Anyways, my friends, I want to thank you for joining me. I hope you'll join me tomorrow as we continue. Maybe finish the background, all these plants. Maybe decide what we're going to do in that triangle. Add a second coat of black. Who knows? We'll worry about that when we get here tomorrow. So once again, I'm going to leave you like I usually do with 2 things. The first one is the schedule of my stream. And the second one is by saying, ciao mes amis.